Thank you, everybody, for joining us today for the second informational webinar on the Tackling Climate Change with Machine Learning workshop that we are organizing at NeurIPS 2022. The organizing committee includes members from the industry, academia, and national lab. And I am Peter Mitra. I'm here with Maria Souza and Isabel to talk about what the different aspects of the workshop and how can you participate, and give you a rundown of what climate change AI is as a group. So Climate Change AI is a volunteer initiative that aims to catalyze impactful work at the intersection of machine learning and climate change. And we aim to do that by bringing together people from these two disparate, diverse skill sets together by building a community of diverse stakeholders. Also, we do guide. We also guide these stakeholders by doing impactful work through various educational resources and programs, including the ongoing summer school. If you have missed the notification for that, at some point, some of these lectures would be made available online for you to look at and for you to access. So that is one resource. But the other resources include newsletters, as well as other tutorials and other stuff that you will see coming in the next few months. We also work quite fervently in filling gaps in essential infrastructure, such as providing funding. If you have followed us in the past, we have had a few funding calls. Recently, we had a $1.8 million in total funding call that was given out to 12 very exciting projects. And we also offer tools and data sets, and we would encourage you to explore our website or sign up for our newsletter to stay informed about all these things. And also the last thing which we do is that we advance the discourse and advise relevant players, including governments. We have reports with other organizations that advise governments on the effective use of AI in tackling climate change. And there are other such projects that are undergoing within CCAI. We would highly encourage you to go look at our website, which is climatechange.ai, as well as follow us on Twitter or LinkedIn to stay up to date with the activities of this group. So Climate Change AI has many volunteers that have done some very exciting work. The group is divided into the core team and the advisory board. The core team involves the board of directors, which includes the chairs of CCI, who co-founded the CCI, Priya, Lynn, and David, whereas some other programs, communities, chairs, as well as communications chairs. The bulk of the core team is made up with individuals who lead various different initiatives. For example, on this call, we have Maria, who is the program's vice chair and also leading the summer school, Isabel, who's leading the tutorials, and until very recently, I used to lead the newsletters and Climate Change AI, and this is we have had quite a few new members join in, so this slide is not updated, and hopefully we will update our website as well with their roles and their functions. We are advised by an excellent group of thought leaders, including Joshua Benchio, who is known for his amazing work in deep learning, as well as Ines and Carla Gomez, Zico Coulter, and thought leaders in various different domains of climate change and machine learning. And we would encourage you to look at our website to learn more about this group. So for this particular workshop, this is the team that's organizing it. I'm Peter Mitra. I'm a member of research staff at Xerox PARC. We have Maria Souza, who is a PhD candidate at University of Lisboa. Mark Roth, who is working in a very exciting area of geospatial analysis and machine learning for Climate LLC. Jan Draguna is a senior data scientist at the Pacific Northwest National Lab. Emma Strubel is an assistant professor at Carnegie Mellon and has done some stellar work in the area of accounting for the greenhouse gas emissions effect of large-scale model training. And there's Joshua Benchio, who needs no introduction, who is advising all of us into organizing this workshop. To look at what past events we have organized, these are some of the list of those. We have been organizing this workshop, which started in the ICML conference back in 2019. Since then, we have had a few different avenues where we have reprised this version of this workshop in NeurIPS, the AMLD, ICLR, And again, we are doing this in upcoming NeurIPS as well. This was a schematic of the highly popular workshop at NeurIPS 2019 before the pandemic hit, when we had quite a lot of interest in this workshop, and the papers that were submitted within. The other CCI resources that we would encourage you to look at is our foundational paper, which is again named Tackling Climate Change with Machine Learning. It is a very long paper which details, which summarizes how machine learning can impact various different aspects of climate change, climate adaptation, and climate mitigation. And there are supplementary resources available to go with this on our website that we would encourage you to look at. There's also a wiki on climate, different aspects of climate, domains that are relevant to climate science and other areas of climate and machine learning that we would encourage you to look at. Please sign up for our newsletters, which is an exciting and a really amazing resource for to stay up to date on everything that is at the intersection of AI and climate change, which includes jobs, really relevant papers, upcoming events, or data sets that are newly available, as well as call for fundings and call for papers as well from major journals and workshops and conferences. We have a YouTube channel, which we post most of our content to, including a part of this informational webinar is expected to be uploaded here, and we will send an email to all of you after this meeting. And there are some other, you can catch up with our past webinars as well as other events through this YouTube channel. We do have a new product blogs, which features some amazing thought leaders into how they are using AI and for fighting climate change. And has some really amazing blogs that we would highly encourage you to check out. Tutorials, happy hours, and circles are other ways we interact with the community. Circle is a community platform where you can meet like-minded people and look for collaborators, look for other researchers that are exploring some of your interest in this area, and kickstart a collaboration or learn about what others are doing, and so on and so forth. Happy hours is where we have it twice every month, and we are across different time zones. And please sign up for our newsletters. They have more information of all these things, and where you can come and interact with other climate change and machine learning enthusiasts to learn more about what others are doing in a very informal setting. So let's now go back to the workshop. So before we go deep into the workshop and how you can participate, we would like to introduce the conference to you, where this workshop is going to be held alongside. So this is the NeurIPS conference. It is the full form is Neural Information Processing Systems, and it's one of the world's premier machine learning conference. In the past, it has had many thousands attendees, even in virtual or in-person formats, and it brings together the members from academia, industry, government labs together to showcase some exciting new research in the area of machine learning, as well as various other domains. And if you just want to attend the workshop, there is no need for you to register for the entire conference, which involves the main conference and the workshop. You can just attend the workshop if that is what you're interested in. If you're interested in exploring about the conference itself, please visit this website, neurips.cc, and it is you will find a lot of relevant information about this upcoming conference. So what is the broad scope of the papers that we are hoping to solicit from this workshop? So I would not go into the details and talk about each of these individually, but this gives you the sense of the spectrum of papers that we are hoping to receive from you during this while this call for papers or call for tutorials is open. So we look at various different things, including agriculture and food, look at buildings, carbon capture, climate justice, climate modeling, extreme weather events, earth sciences, to health, ocean systems, public policy, supply chains, and transportation. And it is a pretty broad category, and covers mostly all that is relevant in the current space of climate change and machine learning. And we would encourage you to submit your papers at the earliest available opportunity. So now coming up with the workshop tracks in terms of what is the workshop timeline looking like. So we have a few different things going on parallelly. So we have the papers and proposals track, where the submission deadline is September 18th, and we will have an internal review process, a double-blind review process, where we will notify the acceptance of papers on October 20th, so in about a month. So you will have enough time to submit a camera-ready paper and prepare your presentations or posters or whatever, however your paper was selected for the workshop event on December 9th. We have another track, which is the tutorials, and Isabel is going to talk more about that, what to expect. And that is coming up really fast. That is actually coming up in 2 days. And it's August 18th, where the application deadlines is due. And the notification from the tutorials team about your acceptance would be on August 25th, after which you will go into a very long tutorials development phase, where the team would evaluate and work with you on developing your tutorial further. And I'll leave it to Isabel to talk more about that. And the deadline for that is November 3rd, to be showcased at the premier event on December 9th. So what are the papers and proposals tracks? So with papers, basically, there are two different things. So with papers, we want to see some results. It can also be a work in progress. These are typically short papers up to 4 pages. And the idea is that we want to see submissions that are that use either a novel machine learning technology or applying the machine learning technology on a novel climate change application area. And again, the machine learning does not have to be fancy, but if the application is compelling. And again, we really encourage the publication of data sets, as we all know that our models are as good as the data sets are, and there is definitely a lot of need in accessing very high quality data from the community. If you are willing to share that, that would be highly encouraged. And the workshop, again, is non-archival, which means that unlike a journal, the papers are not archived. You are free to publish it elsewhere. With the proposals track, we don't typically look for a lot of results, but what we need instead is a detailed plan for future work. Again, this is the highest standard of review because we would like to understand if you have really reasonably thought out your hypothesis and how you're going to solve this. And this is typically a good segue for folks who are planning to break into this area and propose a project for future reviews or future considerations. So you get like feedback from the community itself. And then the key thing that we are expecting from all these proposals, submissions, is that why this problem needs to be solved, and step-by-step analysis of how you're going to solve it. And that would kind of like be the crux of what we expect from a successful proposal submission. So the question again, how does your submission look like? As I mentioned, the papers track is for short papers, about 4 pages, and the proposals track is basically a 3-page discussion of what you want to achieve, how you're going to achieve it, and so on. Appendices are allowed, but the paper in itself, the 4-page paper, for example, should be able to communicate all that is to the reviewer. The appendix is good to have and show extra results, but the paper itself should be self-sufficient in that regard. And again, we expect that all of your thoughts and all of your experimentation is clearly explained in why you did something, how you did it, what you did, and why it really matters. Read successful papers typically also avoid a lot of jargon. So explaining complicated concepts in very simple words is something that we would highly, we have seen consistently for papers that have been accepted in the workshop. And again, justify the use of ML because, it is sometimes not good enough to just use ML for an application. It is important to understand what ML brings to the table in terms of getting to the solution that we want. So we do have a searchable repo, and I'll go over that in terms of where you can find it on the website in a bit. but we would highly encourage you to look at past accepted papers from NeurIPS, ICML, iClear, and other conferences, so that you can get a sense of what constitutes a successful paper. And then once again, the submissions are due on September 18th via CMT, and I'll briefly talk about how this CMT framework looks like. So here I will take a moment to show you all the where you can find the past accepted papers. So this is the Climate Change AI website. So you go to climatechange.ai. This is the page that will load. This is the landing page. And within that, you can look at our the team and so on and so forth under the about section. But under the resources section, if you look at the accepted workshop papers, it will open up this tab. And in this tab, you can look at papers that were submitted at all the venues. So ICML, iClear, NeurIPS, across the years. You can look at all the papers, and these are segmented per subject areas tagged by domain experts. So you can actually look at, for example, if you're interested in carbon capture and sequestration, you will click on that, select it, and these will only show the papers that have been tagged accordingly. And you can also look at maybe papers on that topic at NeurIPS 2020, and you will kind of go through the list of papers that had that had a subject area of your interest within the particular event that you're looking at. If you want to just look, if you don't have a subject area in mind and you want to look at some some particular name, for example, transformers. I'm not sure if there's a paper. Okay, there is one paper on transformers. So what it does basically is it looks at it does a text search in the abstract itself and finds any string matches and tries to return it to you. So this is a paper that you can actually, which talks about transformers in the abstract. And the way to access the paper is to just click on this particular link, and then you can get the paper PDF if that is being shared by the authors. Sometimes they do not want to do that. So you can get the recorded talk. And if you want to cite the paper for your own publication, you will get to do that here. And if you want to look at the slides as well, you can look at it here for okay, and they didn't publish the recorded talk. So there's some of them like that. And then again, and then if you really want to look at papers that were that are winning papers, if that is something that you would like to see how good these papers were. So just check this box and award. So what you do is, like at NeurIPS 2020, you're looking at some of the best papers, which is the overall best paper, best pathway to impact, best ML innovation. At NeurIPS 2021, you're looking at, again, some of the best papers in that were presented at that workshop. So this kind of gives you a sense of what constitutes a winning submission. So that's the past accepted papers. I think I will hand it over to Isabel now for the tutorials.
Hello, yeah, thank you so much, Peter, for that very detailed walkthrough on paper submissions. So now I'll be talking about tutorials at the Climate Change AI workshop this year. So we're very excited to bring back the tutorials track at the Climate Change AI workshop this year. And the goal of the tutorials track is to generate high quality content from the community, demonstrating step-by-step walkthroughs of machine learning applications in climate change. So please note that the goal of the tutorials is not to develop new research or new applications, but rather to make easy to follow Jupyter or Colab notebooks that demonstrate particular tools, for example, Python packages, datasets, or methods that solve a particular problem in climate change using machine learning. So the goal for our tutorials is to be an educational resource for the community. And as educational resources, the tutorials will have a bit more requirements compared to the papers track. So in your submissions, you will ask you to define your target audience. In your tutorial proposals, you will ask you to define your target audience, difficulty levels, and prerequisites or background needed to follow the tutorial. The tutorials will also be far more iterative than the papers or proposals track. So we've included here the key dates in this slide. So first, we will ask you to submit yes, the key dates. First, we will ask you to submit a short proposal or abstract, which is 250 words or less, describing a summary of what the tutorial will be about. The deadline for this is on August 18. Afterwards, if your tutorial proposal is accepted, you will be given time to develop a first iteration or first draft of the tutorial notebook. So the deadline for that is the deadline for the first draft, which we call the midterm deadline, is on October 6th. And then afterwards, the internal climate change AI tutorials team will be providing iterative feedback for you to make sure the content is clear and easy to understand for a broader audience. And the final deadline for the tutorial development is on November 3. So during the NeurIPS workshop, accepted tutorials will be featured as posters or 10-minute spotlight talks for all tutorial submitters to showcase their work. After the workshop program, authors will have the opportunity to record the full-length 45-minute or 1-hour presentation featuring a detailed walkthrough of the executable notebook to be featured as a webinar on the Climate Change AI website. So here you're seeing the timeline of the tutorials track, how it will proceed. Right now we're on August 16, so in 2 days we'll have the tutorial proposal deadline. And again, this is just an abstract describing the tutorial and not the actual tutorial itself. And again, the first draft will be due on the midterm deadline on October 6th. And then afterwards, we will be providing iterative feedback to make sure the tutorials are clear and accessible. So one of the major lessons from doing climate change AI webinars is how much interest there is in getting people to work on climate change. So we're really excited to receive your tutorial submissions, as we believe that open sourcing and crowdsourcing tutorials will be a great way to increase the amount of educational resources that's available. So we very much look forward to your submissions.
Thank you, Isabel. So now I'll briefly go over on how to submit the papers, proposals, and tutorials for the workshop. Sorry. Okay. Okay, I'm just toggling quite a bit here. So again, you will go to the Climate Change AI website, and under events, you will find the NeurIPS 2022 workshop show up as the first event. And once you do that, you will come to this page, if you want to come to here directly, it's just Climate Change AI /events/NeurIPS 2022. And here we have some navigation buttons. For example, if you want to just look at the call for submissions, you can just exactly see the same information that we have shared before. So go to the tutorials and to submit for tutorials or the papers and proposals, the deadlines are listed here, and it is every deadline is anywhere on Earth. And you would go to the CMT website, and if you click on it, it will take you here. So you will be an author. To generate a submission, you would just click on the top left button here and go to the tutorials or papers, whichever you are submitting, papers, proposals. And if I'm doing tutorials, then it will ask you for the abstract and the title, and then add your name, add emails of your co-authors or collaborators, and then choose subject areas, primary and secondary, from climate change and machine learning. So it will ask you to choose 4 different subject areas in both the different topics, and who is the target audience, as Isabel mentioned, what is the difficulty level. So this kind of basically talks about what is the end user, what is the target audience for the end, the skill level of the target audience. And then the climate, and we do it at 2 levels, for the machine learning and for the climate. And then what are the prerequisites and so on, just so that this is properly targeted and advertised to the audience. About programming language and so on, some highlights of what you're using, just to understand and place this properly. And again, some discussions about your experiences and code repositories to understand your background in developing all these, in the tutorial, in terms of where it is located, where it is hosted, and again, some other statements and stuff. And then you just hit the submit button and you're done. If you want to do a paper submission or a proposal submission, you click on that, and again, some basic details: title, abstract, who are the co-authors. Again, the same subject areas, they're exactly the same, and you upload your PDF from your local computer onto here. There's a restriction on the maximum size, 20 MB, and then you just choose which track you want to submit it as, paper or proposal. We briefly went over what are the two differences in them, and then you hit submit and you're done. So that's basically, I think, at a very high level, how you would participate in the how you would submit your submissions for tutorials, papers, and workshops. From here on, I'll pass it on to Maria, who will talk more about the pathway to impact.
Thank you very much, Peter. An important part of applying to this workshop is having a paper that really tackles a problem in climate change. So it's really important to illustrate the link between your machine learning application and what results that would produce in a climate change area. Any of them that Peter mentioned a while ago. Theoretical work with multi-step link is also fine, as long as you illustrate this link very well. It's also important in your paper to consider relevant stakeholders, because ultimately for climate action, we need to put results into practice as well. So it's important to think through what stakeholders you involve, what actions are ultimately trying to influence, what insights would they find valuable. So it's something also to reflect on in your paper or in your proposal. It's very important to outline key metrics quantitatively and qualitatively, explain why solving your problem is important and how well you are doing versus other methods. In this year, we are also reflecting more about AI metrics, so it will be a topic of great interest for this particular iteration of the workshop. The papers and proposals are short, so it's very important to be very clear and concise in the way you write the paper or proposal. And it's important to convey the big picture. So this will empower work that meaningful addresses the climate crisis. So this is ultimately one of the goals of the workshop. To really showcase applications of machine learning that can empower impactful work in this space. So who should apply for this workshop? We welcome researchers, practitioners using machine learning to address climate change mitigation, adaptation, or climate science. This can be for academia, from industry. We welcome researchers and practitioners from the machine learning domain and also from non-machine learning domains. So any of the areas showcased earlier, we welcome at our workshop. And we also try that this workshop establish this link between both these areas that are quite broad, but we hope that this workshop can be a venue where these communities can convene and discuss exciting applications in this space. We, as I mentioned, welcome academics and practitioners from industry and also government. And one great thing of the virtual format is that it makes the global participation much easier and more accessible for people around the world. So that's also a very exciting thing to look forward to. We also invite to attend stakeholders in industry, governments, NGOs, finance, and beyond. These stakeholders are usually involved further down the line in the pathway to deployment of this technology. So it's important also to involve them in the discussion beforehand. So next I will talk a bit about our mentorship program. We have held these mentorship programs that aim to guide potential people interested in submitting to the workshop and guide them in preparing a submission to the workshop. We welcome applicants from many disciplines, many from non-machine learning domains may not have experience submitting to machine learning venues, and many from the machine learning domains may be seeking some guidance in how they can apply machine learning to have a relevant application in a climate change relevant domain. All of us would probably benefit from some mentorship. When you apply, you can apply for instance, if you want to have some advice on climate change mitigation, on climate change adaptation, if you want more guidance about how to write your paper for NeurIPS. It can be a number of things, and that's one of the things that makes these matches between the mentors and mentees so complementary as well. The goal is to provide feedback on mentees' the conference submission, so mentees will work on their papers and have some guidance throughout the mentorship program. But the goal is really to submit by the deadline either a paper or a proposal on August 18th. The application deadline for the mentorship program is on August 18th, but for the workshop is on September 18th. So the goal is to submit on the actual paper or proposal on September 18th. So who should apply for the mentorship program? Well, as I mentioned in the previous slide, anyone could benefit from mentorship. So anyone that is considering submitting to the workshop and would like to have some feedback even before the review process can apply to the mentorship program. You already have an expert iterating and discussing their research, which is a very interesting opportunity as well. Mentors can be advanced PhD students or higher from any field, can be from the private or public sector, or non-profits, several years experience. So it really aims to match people with complementary expertise to sort of create a good mentorship match for this program. The time commitment for mentors is that 5 hours total per mentee. So if you think through the timeline that I will go through in a bit, it's still very good. Like you have more, almost like 1 hour a week, a little bit more than that probably. So it's an interesting program to develop more and iterate more on your pre-submission to the workshop. Next slide, please. Thank you. So how to apply to the NeurIPS workshop, we'll do a quick demo about this. For this, we'll go to the workshop website as well, and there you'll find on the workshop website, we also have the links for the mentorship program. They are also at the top. Maybe we can go to those ones. We have, so application to be a mentee, it's a Google form, and we can go to that and briefly describe what's asked. So you have to provide your details so that we can contact you. The project summary, it's rather short. Then we'll ask you the machine learning relevance of your project as well. Then the areas of machine learning that it relies on, then the climate change relevance, what area of application it is, and also you can provide some project links that you would find interesting to share. You can, as I mentioned, choose the feedback areas that you have so that we can also match you better with what you're looking for in terms of mentorship. So we have also, you can elaborate on besides the ones listed above. And then we ask some questions about your previous publication experience, if you have participated in any way in climate change AI related activities, and then some optional questions at the end that won't be shared with your mentors. It's just for the organization of the workshop and the mentorship program, of course. At the end, you have to agree to the statement of commitment that if you are on the mentorship program, that you will aim to submit a paper of proposal. Like it's not mandatory that you submit a paper of proposal, because the outcome of the research process also sometimes doesn't go that way, but you should be interacting with your mentor over these weeks with the goal of submitting to the workshop. Next, we can go to the applications to be a mentor. So for that, it's a similar process. We ask you your information, your title, role, and the areas of expertise that you have. You can have in both fields, so you can be an expert in machine learning and or in the climate change related field. So since we match people with complementary expertise, it really looks for people that can come from any field. It can be a machine learning researcher, can be a climate change expert. And sometimes people that work at this intersection as well. You'll outline your primary area expertise. That helps us match the mentors better with the mentees, and explain a bit about your experience and some questions about the number of mentees you want to take on, and also the statement of commitment that you will guide the mentee throughout the period of the mentorship program. So we'll go back to the timeline. So the application for the mentorship program closes on August 18th anywhere on Earth. So you have 2 days to a little bit more than 2 days, but roughly 2 days to apply to the mentorship program. The mentoring period runs until the submission deadline on September 18th. And then we have also here the acceptance notification of the workshop. So this is sort of the cycle of the mentorship program. And then the workshop is on December 9, is missing here, but hopefully if you prepare a successful submission, you will be at the workshop virtually on December 9. So we look forward to your submissions. You can find more information, more detailed information on our workshop website. At the bottom of the website, we also have a section with frequently asked questions that is usually helpful to clear some most common doubts. For inquiries, you can reach us at climatechangeai.neurips2022@gmail.com. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter that you can do through this link, or find it on our website as well. On our website, you can also look at the archive of our newsletters, where we have many opportunities, job postings, interesting readings. It's really a very comprehensive resource, I would say. You can also join our community platform at community.climatechangeai, where we also have a large community of people that contribute to the community, sharing opportunities, asking questions, sharing data sets. It has many spaces there of interest to people interested in this intersection between climate change and machine learning. With this, I conclude the presentation, and we'll open the floor for questions. I see that we have already some of the chat, so I'll end it to Pitak to start off the Q&A.
Sure. Thank you, Maria. So I'm seeing a question from Anthony. The CMT says the tutorial abstract is 2000 characters, which is roughly 250 words. Do we follow the guidelines here or on the CMT portal? Isabel, do you want to take that?
Right. I think we probably need to follow the guidelines on the CMT portal. The 250 words is just a rough estimate, so it could be more or less. It could be like 300 words, or depending on your depending on your proposal. But I think we need to follow the CMT the guidelines on the CMT portal. Sorry.
Perfect. I hope that answers your question, Anthony. Catherine says, if I'm working with others on our research and have multiple people working on the project for a submission, how would the mentorship program work in this case? Could the mentor work with the group or only the individual? Maria, is there a restriction to work with a group or individual?
Yeah, we typically have one mentor, one mentee. That's not to say that sometimes people are in research groups and other people are involved in the submission, but ultimately the responsibility between the commitment to the mentorship program is a one-on-one thing.
Yep. Thank you, Maria. I hope that answers the question, Catherine. Let us know if you have any further clarifications. Peter Harrington is asking, how long is the spotlight talk for tutorials expected to be? Isabel, would you like to cover that?
Right. So the spotlight talk will be around 10 minutes. It will be a 10-minute spotlight talk, but we expect you to sort of summarize the key highlights of the tutorial. But then after the workshop program, you will have the opportunity to record the full length 45-minute to 1-hour presentation featuring the detailed walkthrough, the executable notebook, which we will feature as webinars on the Climate Change AI website.
Perfect. Chris is asking, since the call for papers also includes works in progress, does that mean submitted papers, that one can submit a paper that is a work in progress and provide updates in the camera-ready version? I believe the camera-ready version is only minor edits, and you cannot dramatically change the content of the paper. Maria, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. So for works in progress, the best track would be the proposals track, sure. Where the requirements for results are more relaxed. So in case that the results are not there yet, I would advise to submit to the proposals track. It's also very relevantly featured at the workshops. There are proposals that end up as spotlights in the workshop. So definitely consider to submit to the proposals track as well.
Perfect. And Emilia is asking, should we use NeurIPS template for our papers? Yes, we will be sharing a template if not already, and I can probably go to the website here to show you the template.
Yeah, it is on the website. You will find it. I think, yeah.
The style file. So yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this will download a style file with the Tackling Climate Change Machine Learning NeurIPS, which is something that we add at the end. But yes, this is the expected, and we have it in Word and like Microsoft Word and LaTeX. So whichever way you would like to write it, you can use that template. But yes, the answer is we expect the submissions to be in this template.
Just to follow up on that, the submission of using the templates, please remember to submit an anonymized submission. So for the submission period, the name of the authors and affiliations and so on cannot be featured. then in the camera-ready version, that is updated to feature the names of the authors. But the names of the authors need to be introduced in the CMT system, just not in the PDF of the paper.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. I mean, as I've highlighted this here, the submissions are expected to be reviewed double blind, which means the reviewers cannot see you who this paper belongs to, and you can't see the reviewers. So please do your best to anonymize your submissions. Please do not put any GitHub links unless it's on in abstract under nobody's name or something, just an abstract project title or something, and do not include any identifying information for authors in the PDF. As Maria mentioned, as you would submit your papers, you will get an opportunity to put your name down here. And that would be the primary mode of how the meta reviewers or us, the organizers, would know who this paper belongs to, so we can prevent conflicts in terms of understanding from what organizations you belong to and so on, so that your paper gets the most appropriate and most fair review, for the work you've put in. We have about 10 more minutes. Are there any other questions from the audience? And if there's anything that dawns upon you later on, while you're working on your submissions, please feel free to email us here, and please feel free to visit our websites. I think that would be climatechange.ai/event/NeurIPS 2022, which will give you a comprehensive overview. As Maria mentioned, there is a frequently asked questions section, which we would encourage you to go through. That takes in questions from previous informational webinars, as well as the questions we have received over time, to give you a sense of what is expectation and so on. So please feel free to go through that if you have an opportunity. And just so you're aware, the most immediate deadlines are for the mentorship application. It's a quick form, as we went over, and the tutorials abstract, which is about 2,000 characters, give or take 250 words, as Isabel mentioned. And the submission processes are very simple. So please feel free to provide us with your submissions. We're very excited to work with you on that. And hopefully we'll see many of you at the workshop on December 9th. If there are no further questions, I propose we close the meeting now. Maria, is that okay?
Absolutely. I think, I think this was comprehensive. And if there are no further questions, we can close the session for today. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you all for attending, and we look forward to reviewing your submissions. Thank you. Others? Okay, thank you. Yeah, perfect. Awesome.